if I was light enough, they would think I was bright enough. Maybe if I was light enough, they would think I was bright enough. Maybe if I was light enough, they would think I was bright enough. Look at here, got your lights up. Mr. Officer, I'm just being who I'm destined. Fuck arresting, I got a question. I ain't got no damn weapon. Why you killers in my presence hounding?
My name is Kim Ortiz, and I am here with my special guest, the incredible Amari Davu. Amari Davu, so tell me, how's everything going?
Everything's been good, man. Just been working on music, grinding, just enjoying life, really, man.
Awesome. So let's just dive right into this interview.
Okay.
So tell everybody, like, who you are, like, where you're from, what school you went to. Let's just start there.
Okay, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. Went to MTSU, Middle Tennessee State, you know, alma mater, what's up? But, and I'm just a hip hop artist that's got a story to tell, man.
Awesome. So you started performing roughly around the age of 14, right?
Right.
So you've been, it's fair to say, about 12 years in the game.
Yes, thank you.
So how does that feel? 12 years is a long time.
It feels weird, man. I remember when I first started, like, just trying to find my sound, trying to figure out what I wanted to say, and going through the different phases of being an artist. It's been rewarding, you know?
That's awesome. So what would you consider, or even who would you consider to be like a muse for you that kind of started you when you first started getting interested in music? Like, what made you say, you know what, I gotta do this music thing?
Common's Beat album. Man, that production on that album was crazy. Like, just Common and Kanye, College Dropout, those albums made me realize, okay, you can actually use hip hop for a healthy medium, you know? So ever since those albums, man, it's been on ever since.
So how do you feel about hip hop now? Like, where do you see hip hop, the direction hip hop is going in, and what are you doing to try to still remain relevant but still stay true to your own sound?
Right. Like, I feel like hip hop now, it's evolving still. It's still growing, and I think my issue has always been, like, you want to bring back that old sound. You always want to stick to what you knew hip-hop to be, but at the same time, you have to be able to grow with it, and that's the only way you're going to stay relevant. And what I'm doing is I'm telling my story, and I'm careful about my production. I'm careful about what stories I'm telling, and I feel like as long as I am telling my story and I'm keeping true to myself and I'm speaking my soul, then I'll be relevant.
So, and I guess it's kind of just a spin-off of how you just answered that, but do you find it difficult, especially when you listen to the radio and you hear the Fetty Waps and the Young Thugs and the Designers and the Rich Homie Quans and the Futures, and it's kind of hard to understand what hip-hop is versus rap, or are they the same? Because you hear some of those artists take something from hip-hop, you're like, that could kind of be hip-hop, but then they add this auto-tune thing, and now the new trend is like, what I guess Bryson Tiller, the whole trap soul, where rappers are singing now.
And singers are rapping. Like,
how do you feel about that?
I feel like that, to me, that's not hip-hop. And everyone has their own expression and everything, but to me, that's not hip-hop, that's rap. And there's a distinct difference. Hip-hop speaks to your soul. I feel like hip-hop is a teaching tool. Hip-hop is the closest thing we have to the African storytellers from way back when, you know?
That's good.
We're the poets that people listen to. Like, people, I feel like poetry is a lost art form. And I feel like hip-hop can be used for people to actually hear something that can help them. And rap is just, it's entertainment. So when I hear that, it's hard to realize that that's people's interpretation of hip hop now. Like, that's what people see as hip hop, and it's frustrating, but people gotta get money, I guess.
Maybe if I was light enough, they would think I was bright enough. Look at here, got your lights up. Mr. Officer, I'm just being who I'm destined. Fuck arresting, I got a question. I ain't got no damn weapon. Why you killers in my presence hounding? Bullet dogging on my brothers and sisters. Pushing hope or pushing dope, you just see niggas and niggas. You see targets for triggers. You see gangsters and bitches. I see pussies with pistols and badges hitting intentions.
And we're back after that small commercial break with Amari Dabu.
What's up?
We were just talking about kind of how hip-hop, the direction hip-hop is going right now. So you've been in the game for 12 years, like we talked about. So what are some things that you learned being where you are now versus where you were last year?
I've learned, man, you have to be comfortable with your sound. You have to figure out what your sound is and be comfortable with it, even if it doesn't sound like what's on the radio. Because I think that's probably the most discouraging thing. When I first started, I was like, well, I don't sound like anybody else. And now as I've gotten older and I've started to grow into myself as an artist, it's not necessarily a bad thing, you know? But that and know who your audience is and cater to them. Not necessarily, not necessarily just making music for them, but know who your audience is and hell, shower them with your music, man. Don't be shy with your music. Don't be stingy in your words.
Yes,
you know
don't
what I'm saying?
be stingy with your music. So just to elaborate on that, about really knowing what your sound is, staying true to your sound and your audience, which I think is, as DJ Khaled would say, major key, because it's really important to understand who your audience is, because without that understanding, who's gonna buy your music. So how did you get to a point where you kind of found out who your audience was, or who do you consider to be your audience?
Man, I consider my audience to be, I would say, anybody from the college age kids to like older people, because I've had older people watch my videos, listen to my music. They're like, you really saying something. I'm like, it's weird. Like my pops is like 60 something years old, and he's just kind of like, you remind me of a young Pac, and I'm like, don't say that. But he's like, I don't understand hip hop like that, but I understand Pac and I understand you. And I was like, wow. So I think my audience is just people, the backpackers, man, like the people that actually appreciate the culture,
So what's one thing that you think right now could take your career to the next level?
More exposure, more visibility, more videos, more visuals, more content. And there's definitely things that I'm working on right now, so it's all in due time, though.
Okay, so you mentioned exposure was one of the things that you would like more of. Right. So I think that so often, especially with independent artists, do you consider yourself an indie artist?
Yes.
Okay, so as independent artists, I think it's so easy to get, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so easy to get discouraged. Right. Because you're not booking like you want to book, or maybe you're not getting gigs like you want to gig, and maybe your social media is not overflowing the way you want it to flow. So it's hard to try to get exposure. So it's like, what avenue or what route do you try to take to get the exposure that you want?
I would definitely say, man, social media has been a blessing. That's how I made most of my connections. Just talking to people, traveling, talking different venues and everything like that. Just trying to build basically my own Rolodex of contacts and people that I can be like, hey, are you guys doing a show? Cool, let me head out there, because I love traveling, so it's nothing for me to go state to state. But yeah, man, just trying to utilize social media to the best of my ability.
So let's talk a little bit about you being an independent artist. So how do you think the indie music scene is right now?
I think it's dope, man. Like, I feel like being an indie artist gives you so much room to create whatever you want to. You don't have to conform to like a sound. You don't have to answer anybody really. You can just create whenever you want to, and I think it's really dope, man. Like, that's all I listen to is indie music, basically. Like, I listen, if it's not an oldies or nothing like that, then it's indie artist.
So what do you think about Nashville's indie scene, especially when it comes to booking hip hop artists? Because you're based in Nashville.
Right.
So how does that working out?
I would say Nashville, the indie scene in Nashville is very cliquey. I think that if you're not a part of a certain clique, then they kind of blacklist you pretty much. So what I feel like I got to do is I got to start outside, work my way back in. But it's hard to it's hard to build a Nashville music scene when people are focused on and they're focused on, well, we and nobody else, because that's not how cities take over. That's not how that works. You have to be able to build together and create music together, and we all get in, but it's like nobody thinks like that. So the indie scene in Nashville it's frustrating as hell. Like, but I mean, the way I see it is, if I'm consistent and I'm staying true to me, it's gonna happen. Like, one way or another, you're gonna see me. So
earlier you mentioned that you really enjoy traveling. So been keeping up with you. You were able to travel to Austin for South by Southwest.
Yes.
So how was that? That's an incredible opportunity.
That experience, it was beautiful, man. Just that crowd. I was a little nervous beforehand because like it was mostly trap rappers, and you know, they were good artists, but it was like I realized, I'm like, okay, this ain't my crowd. But I was like, shit, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So I got on stage and they loved it. I talked to the crowd. They showed me so much love, man. Like, I've never been in a show like that where people are just like, after felt like, yo, like, I love your music, man. Like, we gotta link up, ooh. So it was a dope experience, man.
So do you think that was an experience that would definitely be beneficial for you moving forward, like network-wise?
Oh yeah, like just I made a lot of connections out there and just made a lot of fans, actually. Like, just, it's been really good, man. Like, I saw the views on my video, they went up after that. My followers went up. I was like, wow. So it was definitely worth the experience, definitely.
So tell me, I guess let's rewind a little bit. How did that opportunity come about? Because it's a lot of artists that like aspire to go to South by Southwest. Right. And how were you able to get hooked up with that?
Man, I have a old friend, Kelly Height. I realized she had a stage out there, and so I hit her up about it. And so we talked and got booked for it, and I just like it tripped me out because I was like, man, I've always wanted to perform at an event like that, but I was like, I never knew how to go about doing it. It's just talking to people, man, just expressing your dreams to people, and they see that it's real. So she helped me out, man, and the rest is history, man. So
that definitely, I guess, plays into the cliche. It's really all about who you know versus what you know.
Your network is your net worth, really.
Yeah.
Like, definitely.
So in keeping up with you, there is a picture circulating with you and one of my favorites, because I'm from North Carolina, obviously. Right. J. Cole. Why you got to meet J. Cole? I'm a little jealous, but tell me about that.
Man, okay, so first things first, my cousin is Pony.
I thought you were about to say rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
No.
I was going like, okay, way to plug that in, but go ahead.
Silly, man. My cousin is Ron Gilmore, Pony. And he plays piano for Cole on most of his songs and everything like that. So shout out to Ron. But so he hit me up and was like, you know, Cole's got a show tonight, come through. And I'm not even gonna discuss that night. That night was crazy, but he was like, you know, he let me meet Cole. And I had this whole conversation in my head, like, if I ever meet J. Cole, I'm gonna say these things, I'm gonna say this thing, and all I could say was, man, I appreciate what you're doing for the culture. He's like, thank you, man, I appreciate that, man. But like, it was surreal because I've been writing to Cole beats since 2009, like, wow. And that was just, his beats have always been inspirational to me and are muses for me. So to go from going to my living room writing to his beats to seeing this man face to face, it tripped me out. I was like, wow. Like, and he's so humble, like, he's so cool. Like, I think it was around the time he had gotten the news that he was the first artist in 25 years to go platinum without any features. And it was dope. So
were you like starstruck at all?
Man, yeah, man, like, cause when I first saw him, I was just kind of like, wow. Like, I didn't know what to say, man, but like, he was talking to everybody. He kind of passed me the first time, then he went back. He's like, oh, what's up, man? I was like, shit, I didn't know what to say. I was like, but I said, you know, thank you for what you're doing for the culture. He's like, thank you, man. It's just, it was cool being in that presence, man. It was him, it was Boz, Kaz was there, and I was like, these are people that I listen to, man. Like, this is crazy, man. But I played it cool, man. I tried to at least.
Try to act like you weren't like a super duper fan.
Right, I sound like, man. But I was mouthing to my cousin. I was like, man, I want to rap for him. He was like, no. I was like, I want to rap for him. He was like, don't do that. But he let me meet his manager, so that was cool.
That's awesome. So, you know what I'm about to ask you next, right?
I snap.
So, if you could be signed to any label, right? What label would you want to be signed to, if you even want to be signed to a label?
Okay. I would either be signed to Dreamville, TDE, Atlantic, or Rock Nation. Those are my choices.
Okay.
But until then, I'm indie.
Okay, I'll accept that. So we're gonna be wrapping up here shortly, but I just want to ask you, like, I think it's great what you're doing, especially for hip hop,
Thank you.
because I'm a true fan of real hip hop. So I think it's really great when you meet an artist that is all encompassing of that and it stays true to their sound. So what advice would you have for any up and coming artists, whether they do R&B, rap, whatever, about just trying to make it?
Don't follow trends. Trends, I mean, it'll get you where you want to fast, but it won't last. So don't follow trends, man. Stick with your journey and don't compromise your art for anybody, because at the end of the day, that's your expression and can't nobody tell you that your expression isn't acceptable. So I would definitely say just do you, man. Like, put your soul in that shit, man.
So you have a show coming up, right? So tell us about that. When's your next show?
The next show is gonna be here actually in May, and I am ready for it. I'm excited, and I got some new music for y'all too. So
Awesome.
I'm really excited about that, man.
Well, Amari Davu, it was so good. Thank you so much for coming out. It was great interviewing with you. So why don't you let everybody know where they can hear your music, drop your social media handles, you know, all that good stuff. Shout out to Pookie, whoever you wanna shout out.
Shout out to my team. Shout out to Rob Reed, Corey Foster. Shout out to my promo team. Shout out to Tierra Fuller, my PR. You can see me at social media at Amari Davu, AMARIIDAVU. That's all over social media: Twitter, Snapchat, IG, and SoundCloud. Amari Davu 615. Check me out.
So thank you for tuning in, watching Amari Davu, this incredible artist. So be sure that you check out him on all the social media handles that he just dropped. Hopefully you remember them and you wrote them down, and we'll be back.
Peace out.
Peace.